One of my first jobs out of high school was being a receptionist at a nail salon. While I was a receptionist there, I started apprenticing under several of the nail technicians there, learning how to do nails. It wouldn't seem like it would be very difficult, but there is a true art form to doing it and getting the right requirements into look. First and foremost, you have to make sure you have the appropriate materials, which would be a nail file, a cuticle stick, nail clippers, nail bonder, nail primer, acrylic powder, and nail glue. Once you have all the appropriate equipment, you have nail tips. I forgot to say nail tips. Once you have all the appropriate materials there, you make the client go into the restroom, have her wash her hands real well, and scrub underneath of her nails with a nail brush. Make sure her hands are thoroughly dry when they come out. She sits at the table, and you look at her nails. You take the cuticle stick, and you push her cuticles back off the nail. Once all 10 cuticles are pushed back, you take a file, and you rough up the nail bed on all 10 nails. This is so that when you put the bonder on there, the nail will adhere to the nail bed. So you take your bonder, you go back over, and you put bonder on all 10 nail tips, on all 10, the bed of all 10 nails. Then you take your tips. You make sure that you have the right tip, the appropriate size tip for the finger. You take your tip, you clip the edges of it, and then you take your file and you buff up the end of the nail. This is so that the nail tip is easier to blend into the bed of the nail. You take nail glue, you take the glue and you put it on the back of the tip. Now this make sure that you have the bonder on all 10 nails. You take the nail glue and you put it on the back of the tip, and you put the tip on the appropriate size, on the appropriate finger that it's the size for. You make sure you do all 10 nails that way. Then you take the nail clippers and you put the nail to the desired length that the client wishes. Once you have all 10 nails clipped, you take your file and you buff the nail into the nail bed to try to make sure it's blended in very well. And you kind of shape it at that point so it makes your job easier once the acrylic liquid is applied. You take the liquid, the acrylic liquid, and you pour it into a little bitty cup that's probably about that big. And you take your brush, you dip it in the nail liquid, you blot it off on a paper towel, and then you dip it into the nail powder. At this point, you've got a tight grip on the client's finger, and you're looking at the nail. You put the dot of acrylic powder, moistened acrylic powder on the back of the nail, and then you blend it out towards the end of the nail tip. You do this repeatedly until you make sure that the whole nail is covered with the nail acrylic powder. And then you just keep building it up until you have what you feel is a good looking nail. You repeat these steps on all 10 fingers. Once this is completed and it's dried, you go back and you start at the first nail. Before it's dried, you can take your cuticle stick, if you happen to get any on the client's cuticle, and you can go back over with your cuticle stick and make sure it's removed from the cuticle so you are not filing on the client's cuticle. Then you take your file and you run your file down the side of the nail and shape it, and along the back of the nail and shape it. And there should be a hump at the back of the nail, which makes the nail look more realistic, and it's not just shooting up in the air. You make sure you file all 10 nails and shape them. There are no lumps and no bumps, and everything is smooth. Once you do this, and you're completed with the nails, the client is satisfied. You have the client go into the bathroom and rewash their hands and scrub the nails, and once again to get any of the residual powder out from underneath it where you have filed. Once they come out, they pick their polish, and they're ready to have polish applied. So once again, they wash their hands, they sit at the table, you push their cuticles back, you rough up the nail bed, you make sure that the appropriate size tip is applied to the appropriate size finger, you buff it out, take the acrylic powder, place a ball of it, dip the brush in the liquid, blot it off, dip it in the powder, it'll make a little ball at the end of your brush. That's whenever the real art form of acrylic nails comes in, because you have to know what you're doing to get the right shape, or they're going to end up looking funky. So you make sure each nail is thoroughly built up in the back and blended out toward the end. You shape the nail to the desired shape of the client. Some like them rounded, some like them squared off. You make sure that all nails are done. If any's got on the cuticle, you take your cuticle stick and you go back over the back of it and make sure you didn't file on the client's cuticle with the nails, with the nail file. Once you shake down the sides, you shake down the back, and everything, there are no lumps, no bumps. The client's satisfied. She goes back into the bathroom, and that's when she files her, she washes her nails, she cleans them out with a brush to make sure that all the residual powder is ready, and she's ready for nail polish. That is the appropriate way to put on a set of nail tips. Now, my audience during this speech would be my brother and my brother, his name is Jimmy, and his lovely wife, Stephanie. And here they are. Da, 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 da. And that is the right way to put on a set of acrylic nail tips. Thank you.